Hello, good morning, and thanks for joining us again on another fabulous Kerfuffle panel webinar. I'm joined by our friends Pernilla and Robin from PropertyStream, aka the 22 Group. Hi Pernilla, hi Robin, how are you doing?
Hi there, good to see you again, David.
Hi, all good, thanks.
And of course, I'm joined by their client and my guest, Mr. Mark Meyer. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm good, David. Thank you. Yeah, good to be here.
It's great to have you all here. We were talking a little bit off camera there. There was a lot of love in the room there. Clearly, you and Robin over the years have developed a very close relationship in terms of the evolution of your brand, Mark, and the work that Robin's done. We deal a lot with sort of supplier relationships with their agents, and it's fair to say some of them work better than others. They don't always end up with everybody being mates and singing off the same hymn sheet, as it were. But you guys seem to have your values quite aligned, don't you?
Absolutely. So I've been working with Mark around 6 or 7 years, and I think what works so well is how we can be that honest with each other. So we've become friends, but that allows us. So I can be honest with Mark if I think he's making a mistake, and I have done in the past, and he can be exactly the same with us. So if there's something that he's not happy with, he can WhatsApp me, and that's I think it's not always possible with clients, and sometimes people will advise against it, but I think that's definitely helped with our journey.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a great amount of trust between you and me, Robin. 22 have been essential, if you like, to help clarify the message that the brand wants to get out. And the only reason that's been possible is your ability to understand what it is that we're looking to achieve, and your ability to translate that into design work, which type of adorns our brand. It's been a great journey so far. Not always easy, but it's been worth it.
It can sometimes, it is like giving birth to a new identity, really, when you're launching an estate agency brand, and to get that tone and the look and the feel of it correct, because very much what you're picking there in terms of your images also portray the values of your brand and the values of your business. Now, Mark, I know that your business is very friendly, it's very bright, it's colorful, it's approachable, but one of the first things that strikes you looking at your boards and looking at your website is these fabulous animal avatars that you've got there, which I understand have meaning as well, but that it's not just a sort of the first friendly face that you see, but it is something that really sort of warms the heart to your brand, doesn't it?
Yeah, so when we first started, we wanted a new vision of estate agency, and I know everyone's used that line, but we were determined that things must change. And in order to do that, we've used this army of avatar animals, if you wish, that Robin's devised with me to I mean, I'm sick to death of houses, and agents use keys and houses, and people with boxes on their heads with smiley faces. And I think it's much more about people's individual journey and the animals. Robin understood that we're trying to create a new world of agency, and the animals live in that world. That's how Robin type of unpicked it with quite a lot of conversations we've had. I mean, hours and hours, Robin, of defining what it is that's type of in my mind, and I don't even know it really. And in the end, Robin type of delivers recently a panda, which will be a new animal for my own office, just to keep things on the street fresh. And what we really wanted was boards not to have a brand and just to be basic, but to have art on the side of the road, which can change. So our boards have changed, and the animals change, just to keep people intrigued and to keep the brand message just keep on resonating out and out and out. And it's good for Robin's business that we keep needing new animals as well.
Absolutely. And it's but I think one of the things that is really quite nice about that, and this is something that I found over the years with working with brands, especially with franchise organisations, is there's a fine line between saying from the top level down, right, you've got to stick with this consistently. But people have their own personalities and they like to be individual. So yeah, if you can at least give something to the franchises where they feel this is mine, this represents me, this is a little bit different, it sits within a wider brand context, but this is my own individual animal, then it can go a long way. And I found that over the years a lot with sort of branding projects, that if you can tap into that, if you can ask your franchises for their opinions on things, then it can really make all the difference. And that's what we seem to have managed to achieve between us, is to stick with the Mayors brand, but keeping the franchises feeling a part of that brand.
And Mark, how important is that to you as sort of running a franchise operation? Very often when you see some of these more corporate franchises that sort of grow larger and out of control, but they become very sort of faceless. They don't have a personality, and you can walk into I was almost about to pick a brand name there, but you can walk into a brand name in any city in the UK, and you'll pretty much get the same personality, same service, and in a lot of ways it's faceless. One of the things that you've managed to do is you've taken a little bit of your personality and your philosophy, but you've also allowed your franchisees to choose their own path almost, in terms of getting their own voice out there. So it doesn't feel like just a faceless corporate entity. It feels like a family-run business, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think, David, you're right. And the word that you used there is personality. So for me, I've learned over the years that my brand is an extension of my personality. So, some of the board designs have got deep meaning for me, and they type of come to the surface whether or not it makes sense to others. But I've just recently brought in 2 new franchisees, and one of them built a tiger through Robin, which was immense actually, and she just that's an extension of her personality. So she begins that journey with this type of little motto or whatever, the image, and Patrick put on, he built a lion, and I was like, wow, I never thought of doing a lion or a tiger. But these guys stand by, and Tasha had a butterfly, and Becky had a giraffe, and they all had deep meaning to these individual people. I mean, they might have a tattoo of it from when they was young or whatever, but it helps to create the spark of their own unique journey, which for me is just building people to their highest possible potential. But the brand, we keep the brand name against everything, because we want the brand to resonate all the things you said earlier, David. And so we don't want to type of dilute it or just destroy it. We want to be able to keep it a very clean line. And Robbins understands that that the images are a critical part of everybody's individual journey. And actually, if the people are happy with it, I'm happy generally, pretty much always.
And is it something that sort of new customers comment on in terms of when they see your branding and you get called out for valuations, or you're having a chat with them before they come to the market? Do they sort of pick up on the images and how different it can be? Yeah,
so a classic example of that is, David, you're right. We've got an avatar in our business that is our perfect client, and they pay a good fee and they expect a very, very good service. And that avatar is Tim and his wife with 2 kids of about sort of 3 and about 6, maybe 7. And the animals are for them, really. It's all for them. And I came out of my house not that long ago, and the car's painted with a big swan on one side and a peacock on the other side. And there was a kid and had an argument with his mum on the pavement. And I was just waiting, because I was like, I want to get in my car, but I clearly can't get in the car where there's an argument right outside my car door. And then I waited, and I heard that the argument was that the kid wanted to see the swan, and the swan was actually on the side where the road was, and there was a lot of cars. And in the end, she gave in. She had to actually take the kid around the side of the car to see the swan before we would continue to go to school.
That's awesome.
And we had the traffic, and I had to wait, until he managed to sort that out. So what we're trying to do is create attraction for the right avatar. To be honest, it's marketing, but also it brings a little bit of joy. That's not so bad.
I slip Mark £100, like I slip him a tenner to say that story.
It's a great story, and it's lovely that because as estate agents over the years, I've been guilty of this. You sweat about your brand and how it's perceived, and is your logo friendly enough? Does it say I'm too expensive? Does it say I'm aloof? Does it say I'm cheap? Does it? It can convey a host of different values. And I suppose taking that conversation one step further, most people in their logos, they either have abstract images or it's something built around the name. But to actually have images of animals and use the word that was art, and they are very artistic, you could hang those on your wall in its own right. You'd be quite happy to have those. And so to have that, to me, evolves that brand definition one step further. It takes the conversation away perhaps from the usual stuff, and it sets the customer's mind at ease. The fact that young man was willing to argue on his way to school. I mean, my kids will find any excuse, but if it was to see the swan on the side of your car, as far as I'm concerned, that's job done.
Yeah. I would agree. One thing, Mark, that I think you've done so well, just to add to that, is within the challenges of the franchise infrastructure, to be able to do that, because as a franchisor, you're obviously got to be the kind of gatekeeper of that brand, and you need consistency. But the biggest way to get that consistency and the engagement and the trust from your franchisees is if they engage with that brand in a positive way. So rather than just say, here it is, just oblige, you're giving them something to actually buy into. And once they buy into it, they're going to trust the brand, they're going to trust you, and everybody's happy. So I think you've just found, and obviously in collaboration with Robin and us as a team, just a perfect solution. Because, I worked in the franchise network before, and those challenges are really real. So to be able to give them that brand identity, and also by doing that, you're localizing the brand in a really smart way, because that's something that people are really big into now. You don't want just national brands. It needs to be local. It needs to be independent, which the franchisee are. They're business owners in their own right, but belonging to that bigger brand. So I just think it's a great success story.
Thank you. I think that it has made the brand very easily stand out. And because most of the businesses they're all off high street, you have to do a lot of work in the high street or on the street to make up for the lack of visibility. So brand becomes way more important when you're not in front of people, on the street. So it helps to type of energize the brand to a slightly stronger level. And I see the business as art anyway. So art is just a creation, isn't it? Any business, like Simon well knows, and Kerfuffle and the branding, it's just art. It's just a piece of art which is being created, and it will one day be destroyed, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's very important to me to be able to let people be creative, and to do that, you need the right creative people to work with, because otherwise you'll just end up with a total type of beans on toast mess, really. And it's very clean. It's been working really well. 22 have been awesome.
I'm just going to add there that although we've got these lovely animals, I'll also chip in there and say that my wife does them all as well. So we are keeping it close to home. And she loves. I want to say Mark needs a new animal. Because she loves that. She loves animals anyway. So
I almost feel like buying a franchise right now, just so that I can have you design me a penguin.
Get your animal.
You could be the first Manchester-based one. That'd be amazing.
We can make you an animal, David. If you was going to have an animal, what would it be, David?
I was thinking, a penguin would suit me quite nicely.
Nice.
I do a bit of swimming. I've been known to eat a bit of fish, and I do waddle as I go down the road. So
that's great. See your penguin.
Oh, love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, write that down, Rob. Get a penguin on order.
Already.
Yeah.
We'll change that normie branding over to a penguin. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. But the thing I was going to say, that although we talked a lot about animals, there is a bit more meaning to that, and there's a core set of animals there that actually represent the brand values. So it's not just cheeky fun animals. There is some meaning behind that, and that was the original thinking behind the brand, and we've sort of stuck with that. That we've got the Myers brand values, and each one is sort of represented by. We've got a core set, haven't we, Mark?
Yeah. So you've got a robin, which is we care. You've got the peacock, which is the core of the brand, which is extraordinary marketing. And taken basically, property is basically a marketing business. So the peacock represents that clear understanding that is what we have to do. And then there's with robin, there's these 4 core values: genuinely professional, which is a dolphin. And then there's a swan, which is enjoy the journey, because you want your clients to enjoy that, and your team and your franchisees. I forget the other one. That's a bit embarrassing. Proudly reliable. Yeah, the pug, which is proudly reliable, of course. So those four animals, and then the peacock is extraordinary marketing, are type of like the foundation stone of the whole lot. And the other animals are meaningful to the individual franchisees.
What I love about your website, I was checking it out. Yes, it's bright, it's modern, it conveys all the correct sort of things. It doesn't have generic images of people handing over keys and packing boxes and the usual. I saw Mark's face there. He shuddered when I said that. But it doesn't have that. And instead, the one of the things that I gravitated to straight away was you actually have a community tab as one of your main tabs across the top. A lot of agents say they're part of communities. They say they do community work, as it were. But to build that onto your website, I've not seen it locally. And to have that sort of stand out, to me, that attracted me straight away, because I think that if you're a brand without a high street presence, let's say, I think you need to be even more ingrained as part of your community in terms of visibility. So tell me, Mark, a little bit about your sort of community philosophy, how you get involved, and how perhaps PropertyStream 22 Group have helped you with that.
Yeah, thanks, David. So when we first opened the business, it was 11 years ago, about 10 days ago. Me and Claire decided we were going to kick this off about 9 months before it opened. And it always works in a hierarchy where there's a big boss owning a big company at the top, making all the money, and all the money would be made by the guys on the ground floor, and it would type of seep up to the top, and the people on the ground floor wouldn't really make much money. So we realized that if we were going to make the money, then we had no interest, but actually it wasn't the thing that we did this for at all. We did it to create time with our kids and to create a world. Now, I couldn't stay in agency the way it was, so I had to get out or change it, really. So when we were thinking about when we made the money, we would send it back to the community and back to agents who deserved a better time of it, rather than sending it to people who didn't care about us. So we've now got a project which runs, and we're hoping to get it to run in any area that wants it, which is called the GAP project, which is basically gardens and people. So in the town, you've got people with money, people who need to move house. You've got normal people, you've got people who need help. So instead of giving it to blokes who don't know you and don't care about you and have plenty of money anyway in big houses, we give it back a proportion of that to a community fund, which then brings the people who are type of struggling and alone and anxious and type of out there somewhere, and bring them into a social space through gardening and gardens, which we've got, which we maintain with the charity Dorset Mind. And Mind is a very good vehicle to deliver the mental health work. So there's people in minibuses coming down to enjoy those gardens who need help who require something, and I was just tired of having people take so much out of agency for themselves. It's a very selfish business, so I couldn't be a part of that, and so has helped understand that. So community has become a very foundational point, and it would have been someone like Robin or Eddie's decision to put the community tab on to showcase that.
And on that lovely, loving note, I'm going to wish you all a tremendous day. And I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but
it's raining. It's pouring down with rain. So
it's really miserable Manchester where we are today.
Yeah,
pretty grey over here as well. Yeah,
and down in Dorset, the same.
Okay, well, that's the weather forecast for this week, ladies and gentlemen. But don't let that ruin your week. Take a little bit of the inspiration and the energy from this morning and make it apply throughout the whole week. Thank you for joining us, and everybody have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.